Today we talk about another value which can help your business to adapt better to the changing world. This value is exchanging feedback. How to use this value to build stronger business? Stay with me. My name is Witold and I'm helping small, medium businesses be more adaptable and responsive to the changing world. Let's talk about how to improve the adaptability and boost the innovation in your organization. The way how people react to change, how they innovate, how they adapt is a purely cultural thing. That means if you would like to improve the adaptability and boost the innovation with your organization, you will need to deal with company culture or organizational culture of your organization. People react differently depending on what assumptions about the reality they hold. As a team, they can react in a very similar way if the assumptions are common, are shared. These assumptions are called values. Today we talk about the 8th value of the Chosen 10, exchanging feedback. Setting exchanging feedback as a value can help to create a culture where every employee feels that they have the right to give the feedback to another person in the organization. And what is important, when this value is well developed into the culture, it doesn't matter where the person who are a feedback sender and receiver sit in the organizational structure. Yes, you hear me well. We as managers need to get proper feedback as well, as formal power can lead to less empathy. We need to understand how our actions help our peers. Nurturing a culture of feedback helps to reveal potential issues and deal with them early, before they will grow up and become serious problems. However, to do so, we need to hear people, appreciate people who are sharing feedback, even if we don't agree with them. So the exchanging feedback is a great opportunity to use it as an entry point for team contracts. When I say team contracts, I mean common contracts which the team obligate to maintain, our do and our don'ts. I would like to share my case. The case from my personal experience. Years ago I worked on a senior position with the organization which were under restructurization. That was a very difficult and stressful project which affected all people in the organization. As a part of restructurization, the organizational structure was completely changed. I mean the structure itself, description of the position, salaries, way of work, time of work. Employees got a clear message about what are our business boundaries. I mean by that, what can we pay really and what we need to cover under this cost. And you can imagine it brought a lot of emotions and tension. I think, and this is my interpretation, this aroused the belief that we were hiding something and that we want to implement a system that would work to the disadvantage of employees. So one employee, let's call him Jim, came to me and told me, "We told your numbers are wrong, you're wrong." That's not good. Okay, I said, why do you think like that? And to be honest, I was very, very happy to see this action. The feedback, regardless of the form, was very honest and was early. So we had plenty of time and we had the opportunity to explore the case and to look for an agreement. So Jim started to count the numbers, the salaries, and started to compare it to the budget. And I quickly recognized that the way how he analyzed data is very, very good, very logical. But also I spotted that he's not taking into account all data which he should for this calculation. So I said, "Look, Jim, I really like the way how you put this data all together. This is an excellent, very logical way of doing it. And well, you don't take into account all cost." And he said, "Well, what do you mean by that? What cost?" I said, "Well, for your calculations, you used the gross salary. But to have a clear picture of what's going on, you need to use employer total cost of salaries. And also, we need to take into account another cost on the top of it. We had some specific industry-related cost connected to every single position." So, and when I started to update his calculations, I started to update his calculations and I summarized the total cost. And then I started to compare it into the budget. This is our cost, real cost. This is our budget. And now look, this is something which we have to cover with it, you know? And I remember his reaction. His face turned red. He looked down. He was quiet for a while, and he said, "You're right." I smiled to him. I know, in this case I'm right. But I really appreciate the fact that you come to talk, to have a talk. Now you can understand better our business boundaries, and you can see why we're trying to do what we are doing. So we had a little chat, and the most important is what's happened next. So what's happened next? He was the guy who was explaining to the team why we need to develop the system and why the business boundaries are valid, why we need to do what we are doing, Effectively, he became a promoter and a supporter of a change. He led and he facilitated the solution which we needed to develop with a team later on. By the way, soon after, he successfully applied for a managerial position within an organization. So this is the example of the power of feedback. We want feedback, we want real, honest feedback as quickly as reasonable possible. If there is something good, we want to hear about it or we want to tell about it. If there is any issue, if there is any misunderstanding, we want to know about it as quickly as possible and we want to deal with it as quickly as possible. There is one common misunderstanding of feedback. Feedback is often connotated with unpleasant critique, where real feedback should cover the whole spectrum. By this I mean that feedback should often be related to positive outcomes, as well as focusing on things which need to be improved. When I talk with business people, sometimes I hear, "Yes, we do it, we have appraisals every quarter or sometimes every year." Sorry, but this doesn't really count as a feedback culture. It will most likely be another box ticking exercise which can bring more bad than good into your organization in the long run. Think about giving feedback as well as taking feedback on. This depends on what kind of the team you have, but maybe daily, twice a week, on a weekly basis. Train people to give and to receive feedback in an appropriate way. You don't need to make an appointment to give or take feedback. Encourage peer-to-peer feedback as well. Encourage people to ask for feedback. Respect that it needs to be an ideal time and place for giving feedback. So make it okay to say not now. Developing the whiteboard system can be a great place for exchanging feedback. If you're not familiar with the whiteboard idea, please see the video linked below. Just make exchanging feedback a normal positive practice. Oh, by the way, look at the case study linked below as well. The case study where the learning and sharing knowledge system has been developed. There we share feedback as well. There is one key aspect to remember. People are not keen to give and take feedback if they don't feel safe or trust their work colleagues. If you do not create a psychological safe environment, you will not be able to build a feedback culture. For the next weeks, I'll be publishing a weekly article and a video about a value which can contribute to strong, more adaptable and innovation-boosting company's culture. I will share case studies and examples to illustrate how these values can help you build a better culture for your company. Subscribe now to avoid missing an update. Do you like this video? The thumb up is only one, so press it now. Take care and stay tuned.